you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Moore
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, how are you, my friend?
Excellent. Lots of good hockey last night. Trevor Zegras put on a show against his old team from Anaheim. He let Scotty Hartnell, too, just know exactly what he felt about Anaheim after the game. Love the fact that Toronto was able to win shorthanded. Brandon Carlo coming back into the Leafs lineup on the right side of that defense does make a difference. Matthew Nyes is starting to get going, and Matthews is playing with an edge. Buffalo looks good. I know it got a little teeter-totter there at the end. It was a little tighter from Vancouver, but Buffalo's really starting to surge. Big game for Buffalo tomorrow in New York against the Rangers. Huge. Colorado-Tampa was a good game. Tampa deserves a lot of credit. That's tough. They had a big ceremony for John Cooper before the game. Can't wait to talk to our next guest, by the way, Scotty Bowman, and I will tell you why. He did such an amazing job before the game as in a video salute to John Cooper. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal what he did. It was so good. And I left the best for last, Jimmy, because I figured you have a little tie-in to working with the New York Islanders early in your career. 9-0. How appropriate we have Scotty Bowman on when he scored 9 goals against Patrick Roy and had the legendary Patrick Roy traded out of Montreal to Colorado because of Scotty being mean to Patty.
Is that why the Colorado Avalanche and Detroit Red Wings became such a fierce rivalry? Is that part of it right there?
I would say that's a big part of it. The
Yeah.
best line ever from that one was Chris Draper, who's a very good friend of our shows.
Yep.
Our show, I should say. And when he said, I can't believe I had to frickin' shake that guy's hand. He was talking about Claude Lemieux after Lemieux rearranged his face with the hit from behind.
Those were the days. That was such a great rivalry. But let's talk about that game, Pierre, because there's just so much to digest from that. As you said, credit to the New York Islanders. They're playing some great hockey right now. Also, before I get to the Devils side of it, credit to Matthew Barzal. I don't know if you saw his post-game comments where he said, look, let's call a spade. That's not the New Jersey Devils we know. This was just one of those nights. And he says that's not to take away from what we did. You take advantage of that when you see your opponent have that. But I thought that was class act to kind of throw that out there, throw them a little, because a lot of these guys know each other, even though they're opponents, and he's been on the other side of it probably. So I thought that was a nice way of handling it after the game, Pierre.
I respect you for saying that. Here's what I'll say. If I'm Tommy Fitzgerald and I'm the coaching staff led by Sheldon Keefe of that team, I'm really PO'd. And I'll tell you why I am. Forget the score.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take a penalty. They didn't fight back.
No.
They didn't do anything.
You're right there.
They didn't do anything. And that would bother me so much as a coach. And if I'm the manager, I'm wondering now, like, are my guys invested? It doesn't mean they're not. But after that, you have to ask the question.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here?
Well, look.
And I feel bad for Sheldon Keefe. Like, I think he's been in some really good situations in Toronto. He wasn't able to get his team to the next level. It's happened to more than just him in Toronto. And now people are taking runs at him. I get it. Fair game. A lot like Luke Hughes. We said fans pay the money. They can say whatever they want and do it. As long as they don't get physical with you, that's okay. Like, it's part of the game. You just deal with it. But I would just say this, like that would irk me the most. And I called one of my former players today because of that. And we spoke for 48 minutes. And I asked him, did we ever have that happen? And he said, no. And I go, are you sure? And he goes, no. And I said, okay. Because I remembered one game where I was really upset, but our guys fought back.
Yep.
But we didn't have a good game in Washington. It was before he went into Buffalo. And I was really upset. And we skated hard the next day, like really hard. And I just remember, I was curious if he could say, yeah, we mailed it in. We didn't want to compete. And he said, no, that never happened. So I said, good, because I watched that last night and I'm going, you know what? I don't know if these guys really care anymore. And they're going to be Devils fans that'll probably text you during the show, Jimmy, or message you and say, yeah, well, tell McGuire we outshot him almost 2-1. You know what? When you're up that high, you're just playing passive resistance hockey anyways. Good for Duclair. Remember last year, Duclair didn't finish the season with the New York Islanders. He got in a big fight with Patty Roy, and he left.
Yeah. Pierre, you talk about, and I'm with you on that, the fact there are no penalties and no fight back. And the bigger, and one of the other things that scares me too is coming out of that game where one of their teammates was mercilessly booed and crucified on social media and everything, and was in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. It looked like I'm going into this game. I'm like, you know what? I kind of like the Devils a lot in this game because I feel like it could be a rallying cry. And they just didn't seize that. They didn't grab on to that at all. And it wasn't even a sign from it from the beginning. They just never did. And they never got going. But here's my thing. And I know you're Coach Pierre. And if you don't want to answer this, I'm not asking you to critique Sheldon Keefe. I'm just asking what you would have done speaking after a game like that. Because what worried me was, and I get maybe he's trying to cover for his players. He's trying to find positives. He's trying to stay as positive as he can. But the first question to him is, what's going on? Like, how do we get past this? All these things keep happening. And his answer was, well, I thought we had one of our best offensive games in a while. Yeah. And he didn't score.
No.
So I'm asking you as a coach, like, how do you handle that in that situation? Do you come out and just say straight out, we sucked? Like, how do you
years later, I think I would have reacted one way a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now, having had a chance to think about it and watch and evaluate some of the guys I really respect, being at big events like Stanley Cup Finals, or being at Olympics, or being at World Juniors, and watching, people over the course of, over 30 years, and working with our next guest, obviously Scotty Bowman, you learn a lot. I think what I would have done in this case is I wouldn't have talked to the players afterwards. I would have hoped they would have called the players only meeting, even though the game was on Long Island. I probably would have done that, or hope they would have done that. And I would have saved my remarks for today with the players. But last night post-game, I would have said, we need to do a lot of things better, including me and my staff.
And that's it.
And
right?
That's it. And that's it. And see you later. That's what I would have done.
Yep. And, reporters will say, oh, that's it. He's only going to answer. I would have no problem with that. If I'm the coach, I want to just get out of there, move on.
I would even say this too. If you're feeling that way, if somebody starts saying, hey, what about the question? I say, look, we're flying to Pittsburgh. We play there next. I promise you, I will do a full presser before the game in Pittsburgh on the off day, maybe today. But right now, I need to worry about my team, and I need to worry about the job that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. That's how I would do it. Now, I don't know if I would have done that 35 years ago.
Right. Well, I know you told me there were some times where you thought you were going to just
but again, the only way you get better in this business, and I talked to Ken Hitchcock about, we got to get Hitch on.
Oh, I would love
I've talked to Hitch a lot about this, especially when Hitch got fired, after Dallas and after Philly. The two times he got fired, forget after Columbus and all the other stuff, but after Dallas and after Philly, I talked to Hitch a fair bit. And going into the 2002 Olympics, going into 2002, I talked to Hitch a ton because he wasn't really working. And he and Jacques Martin ended up being roommates at the Olympics. So we were talking about different things happening in the league and different players and different big ice strategies, small ice strategies, just different things. So Hitch would be good to talk about it because he was probably one of the guys you would say 30 years ago, I might have dealt with it a little differently than what I would do right now, and that's just how it is. I think if you're not learning every day, you're not getting better every day.
Now, the other thing I want to bring up to you, and we spoke about it this morning as well, Pierre, is, Tom Fitzgerald, obviously, and hey, it's part of the game. He's under fire right now from the fan base and the media. And as you said, and we've tried to stress, hey, fans pay enough money. They can say whatever they want. But if you're in the media, try to keep it professional. Don't make it personal. And I'm seeing a lot of that right now. And it's just kind of rubbing me the wrong way, Pierre. And I'm not saying that I didn't make mistakes when I was early. I made plenty of them. But you never know what's going on, right? And part of what I'm saying right now, I learned from you over the years, Pierre, and I'm grateful for that. You never really know what's going on behind the scenes. You may think you do, but you never really know. We don't know if there's a gag order on Tom Fitzgerald right now. I'm not saying there is, but we don't know if there is. We don't know if he wants to talk and he's being told by the PR staff, maybe it's not a good idea, Fitz, just play it cool right now. We'll talk at a later moment. We have no idea why he isn't addressing the media and the fans at this point. You can want them to, and you have every right to. But if you're in the media, you got to accept that. You can't just start throwing arrows and making it personal.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're going to make it personal, and your job is not to take it personal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see anybody apologizing for all the slings and arrows I took for calling Crosby a great player. Like, I got pummeled.
Yeah.
I just, it bothered my family a lot. It bothered my kids a lot.
Yep.
But I never hit back. That's why I don't go on social media. I never did any of that, and I never will. I just won't. I respect everybody's opinion. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it, but I'm not going to call you out on it.
Yeah.
And I look, there's a lot of stuff that's wrong with certain things in the league right now, but the caliber of play is not one of them.
No.
And that's the most important. The caliber of play in the league is really high.
Yeah.
And I can't believe how tough these guys are, Jimmy, that play. Like, the game's always been full of tough people, but these guys are unbelievably talented, and they're so tough. They're so tough.
It's amazing. It really is. But, just keep that in mind. That's all I'm saying going forward. All right, Pierre, the other thing I want to talk to you about, too, you mentioned the Leafs. I want to get into them because, for a while now, and I think going back to when we were predicting what we thought might happen this season, we looked at that team and said they're going to have a different identity, and they're going to be tougher to play against. They're going to try and play more like the team that knocked them out of the playoffs, the Florida Panthers. And they couldn't, whether it's injuries or whether it was just they couldn't figure it out themselves, they could not find that identity. It seems to me they're really finding it right now. And you pointed out to me, Craig Berube's post-game comments last night showed that.
He kept it simple. He said, look, this was a game of board battles, slot battles, and winning battles, one-on-one things. Mm-hmm. And his team did that. And when you play Florida, you got to buckle up, because we've talked about this ad nauseum. We were the first people to talk about it. They turn every single sequence of a game into a street fight.
Yep.
And, some people can't believe that they have more power play opportunities than anybody in the league. But they do.
Yeah, because they're smart.
They are veteran players who are extremely well coached. They understand their roles, but they turn every single sequence of a game into a street fight.
I'm here. Well, listen, we're joining right now here on the eye test, and we love when we have
the best, not even close.
Best coach ever, the legendary Scotty Bowman, joining us here on the eye test. Hey, Scotty, Happy New Year.
Same to you, James. Hi, Pierre.
Hi, Coach. How you doing? Hey, by the way, Jimmy, before we get going, I'd like to salute Scotty. For those that didn't see it, I would behoove you to go to YouTube TV and watch Scotty's presentation of John Cooper coaching his 1,000th game last night. I texted him right away. It was masterful. It was tremendous. I couldn't have been more happy for you, Scotty, and for John Cooper as well.
Yeah, it was a nice night. They won the game, too. Usually that doesn't happen, but they won a big game against Colorado. Yeah,
they did.
Yep, for sure. Scotty, we were just talking about the Florida Panthers and how they like to, turn it, as Pierre says, turn every game into a street fight, every shift that way. Who were some of the teams back when you were coaching that stand out that did that?
Well, it was a tougher league. I'm sure there was more than one team. To me, it was always Boston and Philly.
Yep.
They had enough. They played a tough game, and you weren't going to bully them around. Boston, they changed their teams around, but they always had a couple of really good, maybe two or three. I remember when I was in Buffalo, they had Ray Bork, and then they had Barry Peterson was a really good Bruin, and also Rick Middleton. Mm-hmm. That was their best three. They were their best three players, but they had some other players that were pretty good. But I coached against them when they had Wayne Cashman and Brad Park. That was when I was with Montreal. That would be before in the 70s when Don Cherry was coaching the Bruins. They had a good team. They were close. People didn't. They kind of blamed Don, but it wasn't his fault. We swept them in 77. 78 they won 2 games out of the we won 4, but they were getting better. And then 79 they were even better because it wasn't even the Stanley Cup final, it was the conference final, and it went to 7 games and it went into overtime. So they were close, those 3. We won 4 in a row, but beating the Bruins we beat Philly the first one in 76. Right. But the Bruins in 77, 78, 79, They were good teams. They were really good teams. They had everything you needed. I mean, we had a lot better skill, but they were tough to beat.
Everybody's got an opinion on the Olympic teams, especially Canada and the United States. I know how much you watch hockey. What's your opinion on how the two teams are built?
Well, it is different. You're right, Pierre. Now, like when I was involved in a lot of those tournaments, you just picked a bunch of the best players, and you know because now they're picking a team because the Olympics are so much different. I mean, it's not a one game show. I don't know how many games you have to play before you would probably know, be with the preliminary games, and then you get into the medal round.
Yep.
So they've got to have enough players to play different styles, and the teams are different now. I don't know Sweden's got enough good players. I'm sure. Finland, I'm not as sure about them. And then U.S. and Canada, we just finished the junior, but that's not as good as a comparison because, like Pierre, Canada didn't do very well again, but there's 4 or 5 Canadians they're not playing in that tournament.
NHL.
But now there's no excuses really. The best players are all available. Well, injuries can be an excuse, but the teams can have their best players, and they've been able to pick and choose. There's not just two guys choosing. There's the coaches. There's about 4 or 5 managers on each of the. I'm talking about Canada. I don't know about the Europeans, but Canada and USA. There's a lot of people involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Scotty, one of the things we're seeing this year in the NHL, more so, we've seen it throughout since we had the salary cap put in, but more so this year is the parity. And I look specifically at the Eastern Conference.
So much.
I can't remember a time where we've seen the standings this tight and flip-flopping so much. What's been your thoughts on that?
It's there right now. You're right, James. It's I mean that's what I guess when you look at it, the competition brings out the best in everybody, but it's hard. I'm just anxious to know what might happen going forward because a lot of the teams have been strangled with the cap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get close to winning, and you're going to mortgage a bit of your future if you got a chance to win. But I don't think these teams knew in the last 2 to 3 to 4 years that the cap was going to explode like it's going to in the next 3 or 4 years. So a lot of these teams are going to have some money that they didn't have to spend.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm living pretty close to the Tampa Lightning people, and I see them play most of the time. And they've been an amazing story because every time they get a bunch of injuries, and that's one thing I even mentioned to John Cooper that. Like maybe he had no choice, but he said, "Well, when I get them up, how am I going to know how good they are if I don't play them?"
Right.
But he plays when he brings players up from their farm team in Syracuse. He plays them and he uses them all. Like he likes his good players. I mean, they play offense, but he likes to have guys that can stop the opposition. So I think the parity in the league is based on a lot on how much money you can spend. Now it's going to change. I think in the next 3 to 4 years, the parity the teams will have money that didn't have it before. The good teams might be able to rebound a little bit better because it's tough when you're worried about signing players and you got to sign long term and then you get money tied up. But I think they'll have more money and the thing that's going to happen is I don't think every team is going to spend to the cap.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the next hurdle.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact I did talk to some people that are involved in ownership, and they were with some really good teams, and they're saying when that cap gets in 115, 120 range, they're not going to be able to. Like every market's different. And even I'm not as sure with the Florida market right now. There's these two teams they've had a great run for 6 years now, but like I don't know how much more they can charge at the gate for tickets. I mean, maybe in time, as because the original 6 are still the original six. Nothing's going to change, and the ticket prices in those teams, you can name any of those teams, either Canadian or American, and the Canadian teams are even higher because Montreal and Toronto have to augment the Canadian dollar. Talking about the original six, and Boston, New York, Chicago, and Detroit. The ticket prices are getting up there, and I don't know if every market, like the Buffaloes and the Pierre knows, Carolina, Pittsburgh, these kind of, like St. Louis, say that these cities that have other sports like NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL. You're not only competing in the NHL, you're competing in your own market. Boston's a good example. I mean, you got the Patriots rebounded like they did. You got I think the Celtics went down with some injuries, but they're still a big market team, and the Red Sox have got a lot of history.
Hey, Jimmy, I just want to say something. John Cooper told Scotty about how would I know what they're like unless I play them. In the 1992 Stanley Cup playoffs, Scotty Bowman had Dave Mikhailuk, Jock Callender, and Mike Needham as a line, and he kept throwing them out there. And one of the cool parts about working with him, we never talked during the game. And sometimes I'd look over and be like, is he doing the right thing here? He'd be like, I gotta go out there and play. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Hey, Scotty, one of the things that's amazing about you is all the different teams and the winning that you did. When you watch the Buffalo Sabres right now, and I know that you still call Buffalo home for most of the year, what are you seeing that's different?
Well, they had a lot of picks. I mean, they've had such a terrible stretch of seasons, as you know. Is it 14 or 13 that they haven't been in the playoffs?
Yeah, 14 now.
They got a lot of lower. If you went through their roster and you see that the players that they have, even the ones that they didn't draft that they got from other teams, one I've talked to you a lot about, Bo Byram. Yeah, he's a number 4 pick in the draft, even though he was taken by Colorado. It was on another team's pick. But I mean, they've got a lot of players that were picked early, and it's been a grind to try to, when you get players in the top 5 picks in the draft, baggage is not the word, but they come with a lot of entitlement because they've beaten a lot of players out to be drafted. I mean, some of them maybe shouldn't have been drafted in the top 5, but they were. And so consequently, it's the problem that Buffalo's had is trying to mold all these prospective superstars into a team. Right. Maybe and in the last 10 games, like I snuck around and watched a couple other games after the games were over, because you can watch them now. And like Buffalo last night it's a pretty good example. They're playing a team, Vancouver, that's rebuilding. Vancouver's had a tough time. They traded some players away, and they made a deal. Traded Quinn Hughes, and that's a big trade for a big player, a great player. So Buffalo last night, they got a 4-0 lead. And before they got one penalty that made it 4-1. Then the next thing you know, it's 3-3. I mean, they're 3-0 lead, 3-3. Yeah. And I can't tell you how quick the goals went in. It went in about 2 or 3 minutes, and all of a sudden the team was in desperate trouble. So they haven't been able to when they have adversity, they haven't been able to bounce back from it. And I mean, you think with a 9-game win streak. It was at 9 or 10? 10 games?
10 now.
Yeah, there was 10. Yep.
10.
Yep.
And with that streak, you'd feel that the confidence level should be there. It's a big test now. They got 6 out of the next 7 at home. And they're right in the mix. I mean, that 10-game win streak has put them back into contention, because they were down. They had everybody they were looking up at. But now they got teams looking up at them. So you asked me about Buffalo. I think, I mean, this is a crucial time in the next month for me. It's before the Olympics. I don't know. Like, I know Tage Thompson's on the U.S. team. I'm trying to remember if any other players. Dahlin would be on Sweden.
Dahlin's on Sweden.
Yeah.
So they don't. So at least they're gonna. the teams that aren't there's 2 or 3 teams that got between 6 and 8 players. Like
Yeah.
like
Well, Florida's one of them, right down the
and
road from you. Vegas is another one.
Vegas is another one.
Vegas is another one. Yeah.
And I
Ukko
mean,
Pekka Luukkonen for Buffalo's on Team Finland too, the goalie.
so, but they'll get a bit of a. I mean, if they grind away in the next week or so, or like say the next 2 or 3 weeks, because there's still a month to go before they go to the Olympics. The Buffalo team has put themselves. I mean, they got Lindy Ruff's an experienced coach. He's had a hard time trying to coordinate. Like he's a bit of old school, but he's also coached a lot of newer players in Jersey, and he's been in Dallas. He's been in a few places. So, I mean, he's a guy that's got a lot of experience. So, I was happy that they didn't have to move him out of there, and now they haven't done very much changes. It's unfortunate the manager lost his job and they started to win because they didn't make any changes yet. But maybe the players, maybe they got a bit of a shaking up with it. I don't know how it happened, but they're playing better now.
They are.
Scotty, I know when Macklin Celebrini was at Boston University, our friend here, Pierre McGuire, would text me from practice and say, Murph, you got to see this kid. He's going to be something. And, you saw it right away in his first year, but he has just, burst onto the scene this year. What's been your impression of him? And is there a player you think back to that he reminds you of?
Well, I mean, I've seen him play so many times on TV. Unfortunately, haven't been able to see him in person. But yes, I mean, when you look at a young player like that, and you still look at the statistics, and they're using him, he's assistant captain. He looks to me, and I read somewhere, Pierre might know about it, but it said Sidney Crosby requested that he play with him in the World Championship. Mm-hmm. So that's been that must have really been a big advantage for Celebrini to hang around with Crosby for 2 or 3 weeks. They didn't win, but they had a pretty good run. And he plays both. He plays. It looks like he's that kind of a player. Like he doesn't play a foolish game. He's good defensively for his age. He hasn't had a lot of experience. The team has got better. He's got some better players, and I think he's going to be this will be a good test in the Olympics because he's with another. When you play against good players or with good players, which he's going to, and he's got some on his team, but they're not loaded yet. I see a lot of Crosby. I see a lot of Crosby, that kind of, the Crosby Taves type of player, where they're going to be decent size, they're strong, they play both ends of the game, and it looks like he's a centerman too.
Oh, yeah.
He's Jonathan Taves with more offense, and that's why you are the best scout out there. It's unbelievable how smart you are at this.
Jonathan.
So I want to just tell everybody out there, because we have a lot of Montreal audience. You were the first person to tell me about Lane Hutson. I think he was 10 or 11 years old when you told me about
him. He was about 8 or 9.
Was he? He was that young? Okay, Jimmy?
Well, I know.
Scotty said to me, you watch this guy. He's never going to be big. He's going to be a star. Scotty told me that. I'm just telling you. How did you know? How did you know?
His dad was running the arena, and I was there to see one of my other my grandboys play, and I saw this boy playing. They had a smaller ice surface, very small ice surface, and he was skating around. And I asked the guy that ran the practice for the other team, and I said, "Who is this fella here? He looks like he's much younger than the ones you were training." He said he's about 8, 9 years old, but he said his dad was manager of the arena, and he comes and skates at this little place I mean, I'd seen other players play at that age, not that young though. I saw maybe 10 or 12 or 13, but I said, my God, this guy can skate, but he wasn't a very big guy, and I kind of lost track of him because I think his dad went to New Jersey, and his dad ended up coaching. He's got a potential to get 3 boys, and he's got the second one that's with Washington, and he's got the third one that's playing in the American League.
Edmonton,
and he's been. They're not big guys, but they're really a family that's going to play in the NHL. So the dad was a coach. I guess he was involved in hockey. I think Pierre, his father, originally would be from either Edmonton or Calgary.
He's an Albertan. He is definitely an Albertan.
Yeah.
But
Pretty amazing
he's
what he's done there.
well, you can't teach what he has. He seems to skate on the top of the ice. He's not grinding away. He can really go on his skates, but he's also he's got that ability that he's got his next play figured out.
Right.
So
Is he
he's
like
got-
Housley, Scotty? Because you were a big part of drafting Housley and playing
Oh,
him.
he's a little bit. Housley was I think Lane is more. He'll shoot the puck too. Phil was more a playmaking type, but I think Lane. You know, like I saw him the other night when they were playing somebody with 3-on. He's so dynamite 3-on-3 because there's only two other guys with him and 3 against you. But he scored a goal the other night, but he surprised the goalie with a shot.
Yeah.
A goalie was, I forget who was it. It was on the road. It was out west somewhere, Pierre.
Was it in Dallas?
I think it was against Ottinger.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
he
in
put it on
Dallas.
he scored on the short side.
Yeah, it was in Dallas.
And that was a pretty good shot for.
Yeah, it
I
was.
mean, it wasn't like a 10-footer. He let it go from about 20 feet. But
Oh, Mike, you are
what's his brother like now?
Cole's good. He's not as good defensively. I think Lane's way underrated defensively. And Quinn Hutson, who's playing in Bakersfield and Edmonton a little bit, he played junior in Penticton for Freddie Harbinson. He played with my son. They were line mates for a little while out there in Penticton. So I've known his game for a long time. But Cole Hutson, who's the defenseman, he's a Washington pick. He'll probably be in the NHL in a year or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Scotty, listen, we appreciate you taking the time. I don't want to keep you forever. I'd love to keep you forever, but
No, this is amazing. You are
It is
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, keep her going, guys, and
we appreciate it.
do you make your Olympic? When do you do your Olympic stuff? Soon?
Yep. We'll be
Yeah.
going up there. We're looking at potentially being up in Montreal, doing some shows up there for the Olympics. So we'll let you know.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck and good luck.
I'll
All right.
talk to you later.
Scotty Bowman
Thank
joining
you.
us
Thanks,
here
Coach.
on the Eye
Thanks.
Test on the Sick
Thank-
Podcast Network. Always a pleasure to talk
Oh
with
my
Scotty.
gosh. Are you kidding me?
It's
Dude,
it's
he
amazing.
knows football. He knows everything.
Yeah.
And did you see him? As soon as I said McKillop, Callender, and Needham, do you see his smile?
Yep.
'Cause
And you know the wheels are turning. He's seeing those guys right in his head.
I'm just so you know, like he said to me, he said, "You just run your side of the bench, and I'll run mine, and we don't need to do anything." I'm like, okay, because he would get wound up, and I would get it, so it's all good.
That's great.
So I can just tell you. So one time, like they had Mark Messier, you know, they had some big players on the ice.
Yeah.
So I'm just at the end of the bench, and I give it one of these, and he goes like this. He didn't say a word. So
And it worked, right? It worked.
And it all worked out. But I was like, "What are you doing?"
It's great. I'm thinking as he's talking about Lane Hutson too, Pierre, and I remember you were the first to tell me what a rink rat the kid is and how much he loves the game. I mean, can you imagine Scotty coaching a kid like that? How much they would mesh?
So I asked. So it's a good story for you and the listeners. I asked because we got Chris Pronger. So I asked Scotty, "What'd you do when you coached Larry Robinson, and what'd you do when you coached Phil Housley?" Because they were both young players. Phil was an 18-year-old. Larry was older because it was a 20-year-old draft back then, not 18. And he said, "I was on Robinson all the time. I was really hard on him. With Phil, I just threw him out there and let him play because I knew the kind of player that he was. But if I was going to stifle his creativity," and you heard him say he was a great playmaker, I was going to kill him. That's what he said. I'd kill his career. I'd kill his creativity. So he coached two elite players in two totally different ways.
Yep.
So, Pronger's not Housley.
Right.
He's more Robinson.
Right.
And, Christopher and I still have really nice talks, but I think Jimmy, I was pretty hard on him.
Yeah. But it helped him.
Yeah, I think
Good to be able to
it all worked out for everybody.
For sure. And we'll get Chris on again sometime soon. All right, Pierre, let's get to our wonderful sponsors that we just mentioned. We might be up there. We're working on it right now to do some shows from Vago up in Montreal during the Olympics. Vago combines old world classics and new Italian dishes for over 23 years. Private dining rooms for any occasion. They are open Monday to Saturday evenings and lunch from Tuesday to Friday. They are located 1336 Green Avenue in Westmount. For reservations, call 514-846-1414. Again, that's 514-846-1414. I'm guessing Scotty's been to Vago before.
He has. Right
Yeah.
after my family and I took him to Vago. He had his whole family there, and we went to Vago after they named the rink in Verdun after him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we had a really nice, that was an amazing, you know what? You grow up in Montreal, you worship at the altar of the Montreal Canadiens, especially me as a little kid that I was a rink rat. I don't even pretend. My parents, if my late father was alive, he'd tell you, like, I got disciplined a lot because I tried, sometimes I didn't go to school. I went to the rink. But when Scotty called me up and he says, I really have a favor to ask. I said, what's that? He goes, they're naming a rink in Verdun after me. I'm like, what? He goes, and my dad helped build that rink, and I grew up in Verdun. So he goes, you want to come down? I said, yeah, I'll be there. He goes, what do you want to do for dinner? I said, I got it taken care of. You just show up. And so I took the whole group to Vago. And that private room that we talk about?
Yeah.
That's where we were. So it was good.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, definitely check it out. If you got to have a function there, they are the place to go. And just if it's going to be you and your significant other, go there as well. Check out Vago for sure. All right. Our other sponsor, Betway, where you can still go all the way with Betway and bet those beauties. Join the action right now if you're not a member and get that amazing deal we've been telling you about. You can go to the QR code right in front of you if you're watching. If not, go to the website, go to the members section and fill out your details there. And that deal is you will get up to $300 back on your first deposit. Even if you lose that first bet, you've still got some credit coming to you. So go there right now, sign up. You must be 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Always bet responsibly. And this offer is not available in Ontario. All right. Well, definitely less games tonight, Pierre, obviously, than we had last night. It was a busy night in the NHL, but still 5 games. That's kind of a lot for Wednesday night. And that's obviously because the Olympic schedule, they're jamming them in wherever they can. So let's start in Washington, where the Dallas Stars, Pierre. We haven't really talked about them. We've been focused on some other teams.
They're sliding. They're sliding.
Yeah, I think
here's the one thing, just because I thought you were going to go down this road.
Yep.
I did goal differentials this morning. Tampa's plus 34, Detroit's -5, Montreal's even. You look at Colorado's plus 70, Minnesota's plus 21, Dallas is plus 26. So if you look at it, that's the Central Division. Colorado plus 70, Dallas plus 26, Minnie plus 21. The only one close to them is Tampa at plus 34. So as much as people think Dallas is sliding, that's a really good metric and a gauge to judge where you are. Now, they're not catching Colorado. Colorado's plus 70. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I sent that stat, though, and I'm glad you did bring up goal differential. The Bruins, since December, since that win in Winnipeg, are a -14 goal differential.
There you go.
Over, I think, 8 games.
That's a gauge that none of the new math wants to do.
Yep.
But it's the easiest one for people to consistent read and a gauge on your team. And then the other one is the special teams quotient that was created by our previous guest, William Scott Bowman. But this is one that if I were Colorado, I'd be looking at. Mm-hmm. Colorado's special teams quotient now is 101.1. You got to get to 105. Montreal's 101.4.
Mm-hmm.
Calgary, who's playing in Montreal tonight, they're 95.8. So you understand? No, but you see where they are.
The standings, yeah.
Yeah. Toronto is 100.4. They're coming up now. They're starting to elevate because their power play is getting better. Their penalty kill's been good, but their power play is getting better. So my point is that's another metric that you can do, and it's very simple to do. Right. And they're not fancy numbers. They just simple math.
Yep.
It's very easy. And it will tell you whether your team's good or whether your team's sliding, and you'll find out fast.
All right, good stuff. Well, yes, the Dallas Stars trying to rebound, get back on track in Washington, facing the Washington Capitals. I know that, people are going to say, well, Dallas is starting Casey DeSmith, but as we've tried to tell you, Pierre, more so on the show, he's not your ordinary backup. This
No.
guy is a very, very good backup. And that's
Mhm.
why I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And I think because Dallas has been struggling, you tend to clamp down, Pierre. You know what I mean? So I like the under 6.5 in this game. That's a high over-under. I like to go under there. Going to head to Montreal. You mentioned that game. They're playing the Calgary Flames. I got 2 there right now. Like the Calgary Flames to score first. They're at plus 140 to get the first goal. However, I then like the Canadians to come back in the end.
Fowler's playing tonight.
Yep.
Fowler's playing.
Fowler versus Wolf. I wouldn't be too hesitant to jump on that under either. I think it's
Well,
going to
the next Olympics for USA, those could be 2 of their 3 goalies.
I know, right? That's a great point. I didn't think,
Mhm.
wow. That's one area they continue to be strong in. All right, then we're going to go out to LA where the late game is going on. The LA Kings hosting the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks coming in, great win last night, back to back. I like the over in this. It's rather low in the Sharks and Kings, courtesy of my buddies at the Ice Guys. Last 6 times they faced each other, they've gone over 6. So give me the over 5.5. And also another one from that game, the aforementioned Macklin Celebrini. He is averaging 4+ shots a night right now, Pierre. Give me that number right there. Macklin Celebrini to get 4 shots or more at plus 115. All right, let's go to the Q&A. What do we got? Sound the siren. What's up, my friend? Great win for Carolina last night. Can Winnipeg right this ship? It seems like a difficult mountain to climb at the halfway point. Yeah, they're in a bad place.
I think they're going to start moving players.
They have to. I mean, Cheveldaev came out, right, Pierre? We spoke about it where he said, I don't have any, capital coming up from the minors or draft picks or prospects. I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Franco, Jimmy, I'll ask you for obvious reasons. Does Lane Hutson not getting called after his non-selection from the USA surprise you? Franco, I read that he was called. I read it was a very short call, but I'm told I saw 2 articles that said he was called, so I'm not going to comment on that. As far as I know, that he got a call. It wasn't long, but he got it. All right, next question. Anthony DiStavolo, question for both of you. Who are your 3 Selke nominees? Who's your winner?
Too early to tell for me.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people doing those mid-season.
Well, Suzuki would be one of the nominees,
Yeah.
I think, but way too early. I mean, I want to see. This is where the rubber meets the road now for a lot of these guys.
Yep, this is the crunch time now for
Yeah.
that. All right, next question. David Robinson, what's up, Dave? You guys spoke of Canada's junior team entitlement. As an American, I kind of saw similar stuff out of the American team. Pierre mentioned that to me. Did you 2 notice that? Also, do you expect the same from the Olympic teams?
No, I don't from the Olympic teams. I don't. I spoke to somebody that's part of the Olympic stuff today. I do not.
Yeah.
This is big business. And between Canada and the United States and Sweden, this is major stuff. These guys are taking it personal in a good way, not a bad way. So I don't see that.
But I'm with David. That was one of the things that I was worried about with USA and Canada in the juniors. All right, next question. Randy Workman, how about the Devils not taking Markstrom out?
I was disgusted by it. I'm not going to lie to you.
I don't get it either.
I told Jimmy this morning I was absolutely shocked. I could not believe it.
Yeah, that was really, I don't know. I don't get it either. All right, next question. Juice, Pierre, it sounds like Goulet will be coming back into the Canadiens lineup over the next couple of games. How big of an addition is this for Montreal?
Massive, as long as he stays healthy, massive. It stabilizes the left side of the D. It creates everybody's proper role. Can you imagine if Caden Goulet's playing in a 3rd pairing? Like, Matheson, Hudson, Goulet, 1, 2, 3. That's really good. So, yeah, it's going to be huge for Montreal when they get him back.
All right, next question. JRB88 heard a story that Bowman had the visiting dressing room freshly painted at the start of the playoffs. Any other mind games you can tell us?
First of all, that's
mess with them.
They used to paint the visitors' room in Joe Louis. Yes, I've been through that before, but it wasn't Scotty's idea. That was going on forever and ever. What I do think they did, though, and I never coached the playoff game at the Joe, but I called a plethora, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they used to lower or raise the bench, the visitors' bench, to make the guys comfortable.
Well, that's great.
I do, but I don't know if that was Scotty's idea or somebody else.
Yeah, well, as we've discussed a couple times, the Bruins played a lot of mind games in the old.
The worst one I ever saw. The worst one I ever saw, and I will not say the rink because it's not fair because I don't know who was involved. I was doing a playoff series, and I had to go through the visitors' tunnel to get to the ice and then come across. and they were sharpening their skates, and all the embers came out, and they would go into the rug, and it was done on purpose. I'm convinced of it. It was done on, not by the visiting trainers.
Yeah.
They took the filter off of it at the back side of it.
God.
And so all the shavings would go into the rug. Well, guess what that does? It dulls the blades.
Yep.
So you'd see this people running back and forth, changing the blades because the guys were losing their edges. That's the worst one. And I saw it. I saw it happen. So I was like, oh, this is bad.
Man. Hey, whatever advantage you can get, right? All right, next question. C-Milk, and by the way, A to Z me, thank you for telling me that. I guess Lane Hutson said today, Pierre, he was not called. I thought I had read he was.
I didn't know one way or the other.
I stand corrected.
I you know what? I'm not. You know what I think of Billy Guerin, and I think the world of him, and I respect him. There's a lot of moving parts in this one that I don't understand.
Yeah, and I don't know how much we're allowed to get into it, so we'll leave it.
Well, I can't because I don't understand it. I'm just telling you right now, I don't understand it.
All right. Next question. What do we got? C-Milk, what's up, buddy? Pierre, outside of Leon and Connor being top notch, especially Connor, what has been the biggest change you've seen from the Oilers as of late? Would you keep Ingram in when Jarry comes back? He's been good.
Depends on how well Jarry plays when he comes back. Ingram's good. I was told by somebody that I work with in Toronto that knows Ingram really well. You watch Pierre, when he gets a chance, he's going to run with the ball, and he's been right on that so far. I wanted to ask Scotty about it. I just didn't have a chance because I thought he was just so fluid with his comments. He thought he was phenomenal. Yeah. I'm not sure I've ever seen Connor McDavid play better. I said to Jimmy before, don't take Draisaitl, leave Draisaitl there, but you take Connor off that team. I don't even know if they're a playoff team.
Yeah, and Pierre, one thing that you were saying and you were really harping on early in the season when they were struggling was, look, with all due respect, because he's still the greatest player in the world, he needs to play more team defense. He needs to set the tone, and he's doing. And that's what I'm thinking you mean by him playing.
He's playing a complete game now. He's not cheating for offense. He doesn't have to. He just makes it happen by himself. Right.
But he's going back to help the
team. What a play. He and Nugent Hopkins had an amazing hookup last night. It was really special.
All right, next question. Brandon H825, question for Pierre. You were saying last night on Tony's show that the Habs should bring in a D-man to play with Hutson with an edge. If the Jets fall out of it, how about Luke Schenn? 2 cups and 300 hits last year.
Don't you worry. I'm the biggest Luke Schenn fan ever. First time I got to visit with Luke Schenn was at the 2007 World Junior. No, 2008, sorry, in Parta Beach in the Czech Republic. I spent a lot of time with him in Russia that summer. And I call Luke Schenn the human eraser. And that stuck with him.
I remember that.
That's what I call him, the human. And Stamkos calls him that all the time. So I know I'm a huge Luke Schenn fan, and you talk about a guy that cares.
Oh yeah,
he's such a good man, such a good person, such a hard player to play against.
Yep, that's a great idea to go after him for sure. All right, next question. Full five. That's what he's trying to make me do there. Hey guys, do you see any teams trying to acquire Jonathan Toews to the playoffs for his 63% face-off wins percentage? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's going to be one of the interesting stories that develops as we get to the deadline.
I would definitely try to get Johnny. What an assist last night to Cole Perfetti. Yeah, that was a beautiful play by Johnny. Like, his face-off play is always exemplary. He's a great defensive player. Like, I know people want more points at him. That's not the way it's going to be. That's why I call Celebrini. I said it before Celebrini got to the NHL. I said he's going to be Jonathan Toews, but with more offense.
Yeah,
and that's what he is. But Johnny's a really good player.
Yeah,
I'd bring him in for the play. Look, I keep telling you what Trotzy did for our group in Pittsburgh. Brian was amazing. He made such a big difference.
All right, next question. Chris Blue Shirts. Hey guys, happy, healthful, and successful New Year. You too, Chris. To you and your loved ones. Rumor has it that the Rangers are interested in Sherwood. He is not the answer. They are missing top 9 skill. Your thoughts?
Chris, we're on the same page, at least from my end. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And Kiefer's a good player, but I don't have him as a top 6. I know he had big points other years, but no, it's not I think it'll be an overpaid. Somebody's going to overpay. Doesn't mean he's not going to help a team. You know what he's like? He's like Blake Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
He's like Blake Coleman. And Blake Coleman right now is playing in Calgary. Blake Coleman plays with Michael Backlund and Matt Coronado.
Well, that's a guy you've told us to keep an eye on for sure, Pierre, as we get closer. All right, next question. Bill Van Vago, what did Hockey Canada learn from the junior tournament? Does it go back to the open invite tryout? Coaching philosophy, hire a permanent coach a la Dave.
No permanent coach. They don't need to do that. They need to go back to what they used to do. Drill sergeant, summertime, hard camps, evaluation camps, and then you go to tryout at the end of November, beginning of December. And either you make it or you don't. I've seen Tyler Seguin get cut. I've seen Ryan Nugent-Hopkins get cut. I saw Dan Cleary get cut 3 times. I saw Mike Comrie get cut 3 times. I mean, I saw a lot of guys get cut. I saw a lot of really good players. I mean, can you imagine Tyler Seguin? Tyler Seguin was the second player picked in the draft. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was the first overall pick. So I saw Eric Stahl. Eric Stahl get cut.
Right.
I mean, come on, make it hard.
Yeah. Well, like you nailed it, Pierre. You didn't understand why they went out of their.
Before the tournament, I said, I can't believe this happened. I was shocked.
Yep. And I'm with you. I think it played a role. All right, next question. Ethan Russell, do you think we could see a handful of trades right before the Olympic break?
Yes.
Yes, me too. All right, next question. Dad's Habs, Pierre and Jimmy, seeing how Montreal has maintained a solid place in the division and conference with all their injuries, if they make the playoffs, shouldn't Marty be nominated again for Jack Adams?
What?
Good call, Dad.
Because we agree with you. I said that yesterday. Can't believe it.
For
His
sure.
name's not even in it. He should be.
He should be. All right, next question. When you evaluate a player, what detail do you notice first? Pierre?
Well,
and we got time for one more after
No,
this.
my biggest thing is I want to see work habits. I want to see a guy that really works, and then the rest will take over. I also go back, as Jimmy knows, I watch a lot of practices. Coachability matters to me a lot. If a guy's not receptive to coaching, he can't get better. So coachability, but I like work habits matter a lot when I go to the game.
All right, Pierre, one more. We good? Because I know you got that out.
Yep.
Okay, Mike Gaudette, would you put Hage on the line with Cole and Nick?
No, I put Hage on a line with Slavkovsky and Demidov.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
And that's not a knock on Kapanen, who's been phenomenal, especially of late. And then I'd move Kapanen down, and then I'd have Jake Evans in 4, and Phil Deneau.
Ice up the middle.
Yeah, you're going to be loaded.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're going to do with Phil, if they're bringing him back or not. He needs a contract. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if there are 5 of them, Hage is special. I'm telling you, Jimmy, Hage is a good player. He's a really good player.
Looking forward to it. All right, that's it for today. We appreciate it. Big thanks.
Can you do me a favor, Jimmy? And it's really important. Please, when you do your social stuff, I know we got to cut it short today, and I'm sure we got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Please, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do a full show. I got to do something for the Women's Olympics right now, so I got to kind of dine and dash.
I'll do my sign off. Pierre McGuire sign off. Big thanks to Scotty for joining us here. And also a reminder, tomorrow we got another great guest. San Jose Sharks head coach Ryan Wasowski will be joining us here on the Eye Test. Looking forward to that. He can look back on the game tonight and how this season has gone. So that'll be great. Thanks to Shane working the boards up in Montreal. And thanks to you all for your questions and for listening and watching. I'm Jimmy Murphy. This has been another edition of the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.